Good morning as we filter in. Good morning and Happy New Year. We are going to get started because it's already 8:34, so we want to respect everyone's time. My name is Dr. Cristina Marin, and I'm the head of theater here at Phoenix College, again in 2026. Yay. Happy to leave 2025 behind, but we've prepared this morning. I swear, I tried, let me just explain. I tried to do something fun, like tape things under your chairs and have one of those things be the golden ticket with a new car. Angela said no. That was not an option. But we have left something at the front door, which you've either picked up on your way in or you'll take when you leave, hopefully, and keep it in your office, on your car dashboard, maybe take a picture of it, keep it on your phone. But there are a framework that I have been using for probably the last 5 years, and they're called the 4 Agreements. And many of you probably know the 4 Agreements. They're from a book by Don Miguel Ruiz, and they come from indigenous Toltec wisdom from Mexico City. They're simple, and they can change the way you walk in the world. They've changed the way I walk in the world, and I work in theater. So taking the drama out is one of the most crucial things we can do. The 4 agreements are simple. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And the last one is always do your best. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail because I think it's important for us to frame why these things are so important. What does it mean to be impeccable with your word? The very first thing it means is never speak badly about yourself. Never bring yourself down. Not in front of your students, not at a meeting, not anywhere. Never bring yourself down. But on the flip side of that, it means if you're not willing to say something to someone's face, don't say it to someone else when they're not in the room. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Use your word in the direction of truth and love, avoiding gossip or speaking against yourself. That's what it says on the paper that you can take with you. This is a tiny soundbite of a much larger chapter on being impeccable with your word. But think about what you say before you say it. Not taking anything personally is the hardest thing to do for someone who works in theater. Everything is personal, right? But the reality of this agreement is nothing others do is because of you. It's a projection of their own reality. Keep that in mind when you're starting to take something personally. Being immune to others' opinions prevents needless suffering. It's a simple soundbite from a much larger chapter. Not taking anything personally really relieves you of all of those moments where you think it's because of you, or all of those moments you think you've done something wrong. Don't make assumptions. I'm not going to go back to that, saying that we all know when you assume, but ask questions instead of assuming. Clarify. You ask your students to do it, ask questions. Does anyone have any questions? Ask questions. Don't make assumptions, because half of our battles are fought because of the assumptions we make. And the last one is really important. Always do your best, but always make sure you understand that your best is going to be different every single day. You're not going to be on your 100% A game every single day, and give yourself that grace to realize that. Don't walk out of the classroom and say, oh, that was the worst class I've ever had, because that's not being impeccable with your word about yourself. And if there's anyone who knows what being impeccable with your word is really all about, it's someone with a 4-year-old following them around, repeating all of the impeccable words that you are saying. The 4 agreements can help us live in this world together. I hope. That's my beginning of semester gift to everyone. Now, I would like to invite up one of my favorite people on this campus. That would be Vice President Adriana Coronel, to take us through academic affair updates. This is pointing. Jason, where is this supposed to point? Anywhere but there.
It's not working?
Oh, there it is. There you are. Yay!
All right. Good morning. Happy New Year. Welcome back, everyone. As we prepare to welcome our students for this spring semester, I want to take a moment to acknowledge our wonderful faculty and staff. I want to personally thank you for your dedication, for your passion to ensure that our students, from the moment they walk on this campus, they are successful and they feel like they belong. I also want to extend a warm welcome to any faculty that are new starting here this spring semester and any staff. Welcome aboard. We're excited to have you. And looking ahead to the semester, I would like to highlight some of the outstanding work that PC is already working on, and I want to share a couple of important updates this morning. We have made a significant progress in assessing student learning, particularly in the area of institutional learning outcomes. Last semester, we released our first institutional learning outcomes assessment reports, which provide valuable insights into student performance at the department level and also across the college. This data should serve as a foundation for discussions on how we effectively teach and develop these essential skills. A key focus in assessment remains closing the loop. With a strong assessment reporting system now in place, we can deepen our conversations about results and the use of this information. I want to especially thank our co-faculty leads for assessment, Stephanie Green and Ingrid Barcosi, if you're here. Thank you for your leadership. And I also want to thank our faculty and staff for sustaining this important momentum. Thank you. Program review. We are now in the fourth year of this iteration of Academic Affairs Program Review, which has been highly successful thanks to our faculty and staff. To date, we have completed program reviews for 75 academic programs, as well as key functional areas such as CTL, the Center for Teaching and Learning, and the library. Institutional research is currently preparing a summary report based on these reviews, and we have already begun using the findings to enhance support for these programs. For those of you who are currently working on program reviews for this semester, know that there's a program review meeting led by Dr. Laura Swantek. This program review meeting will take place Tuesday, January 20th at 3 o'clock. The agenda will include, amongst other topics, guidance on integrating program review into our new Diamond SPOL. It's a new system or an upgrade of our current SPOL, which is in process of being rolled out. And again, a huge thank you to Dr. Laura Swantek, our dedicated program review faculty lead, for her ongoing leadership and support. Thank you, Laura. And lastly, I want to share a little bit of information regarding our bachelor's program. We have achieved tremendous success with our 2 bachelor's degree programs, which launched in fall 2023. The Bachelor's in Information Technology celebrated 39 graduates last year. Woo. And our Bachelor's in Public Safety Administration had 7 graduates. Currently, enrollment exceeds 600 students across both programs. And this accomplishment represents a significant effort by numerous faculty members who work tirelessly to position PC to offer these programs, and I want to thank you for your hard work. So we have much to be proud of, and the future looks very promising for PC. Thank you again to our faculty, our staff. Thank you for the work that you do every day. I'm looking forward to this successful semester. And now I want to welcome our Senior AVP of Academic Affairs and Institutional Research, Dr. Ty Wellborn, to the stage. He will provide an update on the upcoming HLC site visits scheduled just 2 months from now. It's coming, it's coming.
Morning, PC. Man, look at y'all. I say that as if I can see any of y'all without my glasses. But so I'm going to just spend a few minutes talking about HLC. In case you have not heard, our site visit is coming, right? We've got, there we go. I used as big a font as I could, but it seems to have sized down a little. March 2nd, HLC is on our campus. If it feels like they've been here a lot lately, the last few years, it's because they have, right? 4 years ago, I believe, HLC was here for our bachelor's award visits when they approved our awards that Adriana just discussed with us. 2 years ago, they were here for our multi-location visit, and now they're back again. This is our big one, and then we don't have to see them for a while. So this is our big 10-year visit. So I'm not going to read all of this, but I did the whole, let's just put a lot of words on the slides for you in case anyone wants to reference them later. So HLC is our major accreditor. They are the entity that makes sure that we are in accordance with federal regulations for education. So this is a major visit. They use what we call a peer review process. So what they're going to do is they're going to send 5 peer reviewers here, meaning people from other institutions like ourselves with a great deal of knowledge in the work that we do to evaluate us and make sure that we are meeting the various standards for accreditation. So let's see here. Sometimes it can be a little bit, this can be a bit of an intangible, right? Why do I care about accreditation other than just the checkbox? There's a lot of important things that come from accreditation, including our ability to provide financial aid to students, our ability to make sure that our credits transfer to other institutions. Believe it or not, employers, ask and want to make sure that prospective employees come from accredited institutions. And because these accreditation standards are based on what they see as best practices, it's a form of quality control. So I don't see these visits as gotchas in any way. We do really good work here at Phoenix College. And the visit is a way for us to show the good work that we do here. We have prepared several elements to go into this review process. There's a federal compliance report that we're finalizing right now that makes sure that we're honoring financial aid processes, student complaint processes, things of that nature. We're also finalizing our assurance argument that several of you have heard me talk about in the last few months. It's approximately a 35,000-word document because just like when you're in class writing an essay, you can't just say we do something, you have to prove it right with evidence. You have to validate and back up the statements that you make. So we're finalizing that right now. And then comes, once we finalize that, upload it, then the peer review team will read that and come and visit us as a way essentially to validate and verify that everything that we said is true. So as I said, it's a way for us to verify and to kind of promote and show off the things that we do here. So I know I'm going through here pretty fast. There's not a, who said that? There's not a quiz after this. Well, there kind of is on March 2nd. But we've got our countdown going. If you as faculty and staff want to know what you can do to help get ready, many of you already have seen holds placed on your calendars, for the visit. Many of you will be involved in the sessions once the peer reviewers come. We'll do mock interviews for you as well, so we can just practice, what the expectation is when we get here. What you can do to prepare, it says, they're going to have read everything that we've got. They're going to be aware of our entire accreditation history. And in case you're not sure, PC has been accredited literally since the 1920s. We've been continuously accredited for a century. So they will have all of our history, although I don't think they'll go back quite that far, I hope. They will confirm the documentation in these sessions, and they'll just validate everything that we've told them. It's a pretty straightforward process. And as I said, it's not a gotcha. It's an opportunity to show off and to verify that there aren't any gaps in the work that we're doing. So there are, with the new standards for accreditation, there are 4 standards that they use, 4 criteria. And loosely, they work around the idea of mission. Does our mission actually guide the work that we do at the college? Number 2, integrity. Do we operate from a place of integrity? Do we operate from a place of ethical standards? Do we follow our own policies and guidelines and so on? The third one is teaching and learning. Do we have quality programs, quality teaching and learning and instruction, which of course we do. Do we have quality supports for our students? And the answer to all of this is yes. We just document and show off. And then the fourth one is sustainability. This is the one that relates to resources. Do we have appropriate manpower? Do we have appropriate funding? Do we have appropriate other resources? So our mission here is sustainable in the long term. Those are the main things that they're looking at. And the sessions that they hold that we'll attend March 2nd and 3rd are here essentially to verify all of that for us. But, as I said, it's not something that I just say because it's like a feel-good fuzzy thing. We really do good work here. I've been at a few institutions. PC is outstanding, and we just have to show it to them, in a way that is documented, is objective, and then they can give us our stamp of approval, and we move on. So during the visit, how many of you were here for the last HLC visit? Ooh, awesome. So I wish I knew who had raised their hand so I knew who to call, and make sure you attend this one. So the peer review team, it's made up of 5 professionals from other colleges like ours, and all with different areas of expertise. So that way they can look at all the different aspects of our operation here. So they'll meet with college leadership, they'll meet with faculty and staff, they may meet with students. We are in the process of determining what the sessions will be right now, with the peer review team. So this may change slightly between now and March 2nd. But there will be open forums based around the criteria for accreditation that all of us, not literally all of us, but many of us will attend and, to answer questions for them. They'll take a facilities tour. They will take a look at student service areas, things of that nature. They want to sort of get under the hood of our operation and see what it is that we do with our students. And like I said, they'll have read everything that we'll provided to them by then. So they'll ask for supporting documentation or they'll ask clarifying questions. It's a little bit, it's mostly just kind of round robin conversation in these. They're not here to pick us apart or anything like that. They're just here to validate and verify what we've told them. So, and the big thing here says they'll make sure that our documented practices match our reality. So and this last thing, the important reminder, literally in conversation with the peer review team now, They've literally said that for many of the sessions, they would actually like the executive leadership not to come because they don't want us intimidating people in the sessions and potentially restricting free, candid conversation. So that means, directors, chairs, program directors, regular faculty and staff will be relying on y'all to tell our story, which is great because you're the ones on the front lines working with our students day in and day out. So there is no better group of people to tell the story. So how you can prepare. It says read and understand. It says review the assurance argument. It's 35,000 words. You may not want to read the whole thing. You may want to, it's all available publicly though on our shared drive. You may want to, if you know you're coming to a session, you know you're going to have to talk, you may want to just look at the components that relate to your job. Pretty quickly, we'll be producing like a one-sheet summarizing our assurance argument also. Read that. But the main thing is, think in concrete terms. If you're coming to these sessions, think in concrete terms how you support the mission of this college. How do you support the mission? How do you work towards student success? How do you make this institution sustainable? How do you align, how do we act with integrity? Those things. These aren't trick questions. These shape everything that we do here. So, and we will do mock interviews, which means we'll, myself and Stephanie Hoppel, who works at the district office, we will have sessions once we have set who's going to attend, where we'll just ask you the types of questions they'll ask you. We're not going to feed you a script or anything like that, because you guys know your jobs way better than we do. You're going to answer way better than I could. So, but we want you to be comfortable with the process. We want you to not stress. Just be yourself, be natural, be authentic when you answer. But do be prepared to discuss, concrete examples. And if you're not sure how things connect, ask me. I'll throw some other people under the bus. Ask Seth. Ask your managers, and we can help you. Not to put words in your mouth, but just to be able to think through and articulate, what it is that we're doing here with our mission. Let's see. Oh, and assessment. Make sure that we are assessing. Make sure that we can speak to assessment. This institution was, not too many years ago on monitoring status with HLC for assessment. We have not been in a number of years now, but because they know our accreditation history, they will ask very specific questions in probably every session about assessment. So we've spent the last few years, rebuilding, tightening up our assessment program. We do good work in that space. Be ready to talk about it. We know they're going to ask. Once again, not as a gotcha, but just to make sure that we're following through on this part of our mission. Sounds like I'm giving a lot of homework, right? Not too bad? Okay, so specific things. If you're faculty, I've attended most of the departments. I've attended at least one department meeting in the last few months. So same thing holds true. Make sure your syllabi are up to date, meet current standards. Make sure that you're using RSI in your online instruction, regular and substantive interaction with your students. Make sure that you are continuing to hold the standards of the high quality work that we do every day. And be ready to discuss all of that. And once again, there's our word, assessment, right? And be concrete. Once again, like if we were grading a student paper, how do you use assessment? Oh, I use it to inform my practice. That's technically true, but you wouldn't give a student a good score on a paper for that, right? Without actually providing some concrete examples. I changed this assignment for this reason. Or we made a curriculum revision for this reason. Things of that nature. Staff, other folk here, and including faculty, make sure our websites are up to date. If you know that you've got, extremely outdated information on your department page, things like that, this is a good time to update that. We may have students in these sessions. Might be a good idea to already be thinking about students that we could tap to bring into these sessions. Have that ready. And once again, we're showing off good work. Be ready to brag. Like, have those examples in hand to show off the good work we're doing. So, in conclusion, do be authentic, do be yourself, do understand that if you don't know something in a session, that's fine. There will be, a large group of people in these sessions. Speak to the things you know and allow other people to speak to the other elements that you're not sure about. I don't know is a valid answer. I think, just Mark could speak to that, or really that's a Dr. Britt thing, or, Ty, what do you think? Those sorts of things in here are okay. We have to collectively have this information. We don't all have to have all the information. So don't try to memorize things. Don't be unrealistic. These are people that have decades of experience in the trenches, just like we do. I can't think of another way to put it, they'll know when to call BS. So, and don't be nervous. These are guys just like us. All right. In your homework, the sorts of questions you can expect if you're in these sessions, right? The thing that you do personally, how does that support the mission of the college? How do you know what you're doing is effective? That's that assessment piece, right? Do you use data to make decisions? So all the things that you would sort of expect. What are you most proud of? What resources do we have to help students in different situations? So, once again, nothing here is a gotcha. Nothing here is surprising. It's just validation of the work that we do day in and day out here. And just to wrap this up, so our assurance argument open comment period runs through, I think it's the 23rd of this month. So we're finalizing the text of the arguments and the evidence files. If anyone wants, because there's nothing more fun on a Saturday night than going in and reading an accreditation document, right? You still have time to go in and look at elements and make comments if you want. And we're just on a rolling basis updating the argument as we go. We will, right at the end of this month, we will lock the document, meaning we'll upload it in the evidence files and our federal report for them to review. On the 20th, as part of the accreditation visit, we release a survey to students, just an opinion survey, that the peer review team will also look at. So if you're in the classroom, encourage students to click on the survey, answer the questions. It's very short. Let's see, what else? Convocation, there we are now. There'll be another week of learning session, I think Thursday afternoon, with more sort of down in the weeds details on this. And February, I think 9th and 10th, we have earmarked for mock interviews. As soon as we've got the sessions finalized, we will put specific times on those dates for you. And then 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is the visit itself. So you'll see strangers on the campus, do what we always do, welcome them, say howdy, all the things, right? And we will have an exit session with them at the end of the visit where they will give us an informal summary of their findings, an informal recommendation. But our final recommendation won't come, recommendation for accreditation won't officially come for a few months after this, though. So probably in April or early May, we'll know the final word, but we'll pretty well know before then. So I think that's what I've got for you guys. So I hit you with a lot of things. Hopefully it wasn't scary. You'll see a lot more. And, oh yeah, I'm glad I clicked on this, look. And there's my AI-generated PC bear. I asked it to give me an image of people telling their story. And then I added the bear. So thank you guys very much for listening. Have a great day. I'm sure there's more important information coming in a moment. There we go.
All right. Good morning. Welcome back to 2026. Just out of curiosity, how many of you traveled over break? Raise your hand. Nice and high. How many stayed home? How many are still on break? The energy was feeling a little low in here. I felt like we needed to get our blood flowing a little bit again. But truly welcome back. One of my daughters asked me the other day, as we were like 2026, if she would still be alive, and she said 3,000. I think she meant 2,100, like the next big one. And I'm like, I had to do the math. I'm like, no, you do the math. And she's like, I think I might. And I'm like, I will not. But it's really exciting and crazy to think about that you will. So hopefully you all had a wonderful break, got some rest. We have a big semester in front of us, lots going on. I am happy to begin in true form with a little enrollment update. You can see for fall, we ended all in the positive, head count, attempted hours, and dual enrollment. In the spring, as of Friday, we are up 3.4% in head count. And if you notice, I did not put our FTSE, total FTSE or full-time student equivalent, in this update as I normally do, because we might need to start thinking about it a little bit differently. As many of you know, the budget model is changing, and as released at one of the governing board meetings this past year, our new funding model will be based on weighted FTSE by modality, kind of corresponding or aligning with the cost of instruction for the various modalities. So this is just a little teaser for future. You can save all your questions for Angela and Anthony. But it got me thinking that it might be helpful for us to start thinking about as we talk and discuss enrollment numbers and where we are, also categorizing it based on modality. So a little teaser to come. So you may remember also from our fall convocation, just engaging in a little flashback all the way to August 2025, we talked about our students' journey, represented by that squiggly little line in the upper left. And we were reminded that our students' path through college is not straight and linear. Rather, there are detours, unanticipated twists and turns. It can be confusing and complicated, especially for our first-generation students. You may also recall that I introduced the term switchbacks, referring to the zigzagging of a trail up a mountain slope, proven to be the most efficient way to an ascent, not the shortest distance from A to B, but the most efficient to ensure success. Well, we recognize that we ask a lot of our new students, numerous tasks that they must complete just to get started in their very first semester, getting admitted, engaging in placement, participating in bear tracks, and so on. And some may view these as obstacles and would prefer the more efficient route from A to B, from admissions to sitting in class. But the evidence is really quite clear. Students are less likely to succeed, more likely to drop out without engaging in these new student experiences along the way. So how do we make this easier and less complicated for our students? One way is by designing a coherent, structured framework aligned with the student life cycle to increase student momentum, celebrating milestones along the way, and identifying points where they may get off track. We also talk about this in the context of case management, a term many of you have heard. This lost momentum framework should look familiar to many of you. It comes from CCRC, the Community College Research Center, and it really was the basis for much of the work that we did in Guided Pathways. So once again, we continue to reflect on our students' journey and how we communicate the steps along the way that will contribute to their success. So part of our Achieving the Dream work this fall was to develop a cohesive brand identity and a visual framework that unifies and elevates the students' success initiatives, creating a recognizable design and bringing visibility to PC's commitment to retention, persistence, and success. So how did we do this? We started first by reflecting on our vision and mission for alignment, and then we engaged students in a series of focus groups to find out what really resonated with them. Students told us that they felt a connection to language that depicts an urban journey, not so much climbing a mountain, but rather more relevant to our urban location in Midtown, downtown Phoenix, including language like shortcuts, detours, real-life navigation. Community was also very important to them, the relationships with all of you and with one another. The history of Phoenix College continues to be a significant point of pride for our students and stood out also in our focus groups, as did Bumstead, our lovable mascot. Students shared very clearly that they would like to see us use bears more in our messaging. So, putting that all together and tapping into the history, the team looked at the 1948 official college seal and came up with a design that was updated, showcases our history, incorporates the bear and also the city skyline, rebranding use of the term bear tracks. They used to just refer to one step in the process, and also removing the X, for those of you that are familiar with how we used to spell bear tracks. Now bear tracks will be used to brand the overall student success experience and journey. So this image on the right just gives an example of how we might use this, playing off the idea of metro stops, steps along the way in the student life cycle, according to and with the ultimate goal of completion and beyond. So language such as bears rise together, leave tracks, lift others, also deeply resonated with our students, again demonstrating the community aspect of interdependence and togetherness. So what does this mean for you? As this work continues, you will hopefully see this brand more and more, this language, these images, and hopefully this will help all of you and our students recognize the elements of what it takes to be a successful student and actions that we want them to take along the way. So please help me thank Christy Flora from our marketing area and our marketing team, Dean Anika Hutchinson, Amanda Andrew, and Kim Duru, who all worked on this rebranding project. I think they did a fabulous job. So next I'd like to introduce my partner in crime, Dr. Pam Duty, English Department Chair, Faculty Senate President, and my co-chair in the ATD work, who's going to share a little bit more about our progress toward increased math and English completion.
Thanks, Heather. It's exciting when anytime you have a success in a classroom in which your students, you can see the bright light bulbs going off, right? Those unexpected moments, right? I think if we look at priority one, we've had two masterful moments when that's occurred this past fall. One had to do with the 8-week cohort in which we coupled, not learning community, but coupled an English 101 section with a Math 141 class. And the students, as you can tell from these comments in the interviews that we conducted with them, they like it. And they found it extremely supportive of their success. In fact, so much so that they went to their English instructor specifically asking if they could do the same or a similar model for this spring. So for this spring, those English 101 students have looped into an English 102 class, and they are coupled with a critical reading class as well. So it's working. We can't wait to see the data as it continues for this spring to see if we can have a full year's data. But the data, which we hope you'll come and listen to on Thursday at 10 a.m., will kind of blow your mind away. We also wanted to make certain the other aha moment happened when our student success program specialists, who were embedded in almost all of the Math 1-5X classes, turned around and created their own special community. So we kind of tweaked how those embedded specialists work in the math program, and they created their own, we're calling it Math Zone for right now. It's kind of interesting what AI comes up with, what it should be called. But the students have kind of started creating their own community, so much so that students who are going to the math zone are bringing their friends with them. And when they're having struggles in other math classes, they're bringing those friends too. So you can see this little pack of student success specialists. It's kind of crazy up there, but it's wonderful. And it demonstrates that when we focus our efforts and we provide our students a moment to be empowered, what incredible things they can do. And what I forgot to talk about the English. We also had success not only with our student success, in addition had success with our student success program. We also are seeing incredible numbers resulting from our students who are not in English 101 classes with student success specialists going to our writing center. So huge kudos to the Priority 1 team, Marsha Corby, Jenny Ussery, Stephanie Madison, I know it's a phone going off. Stephanie Madison, Mark Serrar, Sam Crandall. I think I'm forgetting somebody, but I think that's everybody. And then for this spring, we're doing our English 102, doing the English 102 cohort. We are continuing to encourage our faculty to motivate others in their class to go to the Writing Center. We are expanding and looking for prepping. We decided for adding a student success specialist for our Math 141 that we actually need to probably look at Math 114, which is the precursor course for students who are struggling with math concepts. So we're kind of piloting that this spring to see if the numbers warrant the expansion of it into 14X. So that's kind of where we are. We're excited about it, and we hope we continue to empower our students for their success.
All right, so we know there's a lot of great work happening, as Adriana and Ty both talked about too, across this college and in student affairs, despite constrained resources in support of our students. And when we look at almost every other metric, you can see we continue to move in the right direction, and there's much to be proud of. We've got more students applying to PC, more FAFSA completions, more students using essential resources, more degrees and certificates awarded year over year. We're very excited about the new technology that's coming. We have a very aggressive launch of our new admissions portal, followed by a new marketing recruitment, customer relation management system, or CRM, and also technology to support case management and early alert. So last, I wanted to also highlight, we received a fantastic donation from the BHHS Legacy Foundation, generously supporting our resource room, our counseling area, student life, athletics. Other departments on campus continue to go out and look for resources to support our students in terms of wraparound support and basic needs, and it is commendable and it is paying off, and I'm really, really proud and thankful for them for doing that work. So please help me thank them. So on the note of athletics, last fall, I chatted with you all about some of the academic accomplishments, and today I am pleased to highlight and celebrate our men's soccer team on their very first ever national championship. Let's give them a big round of applause. So this capped off an amazing season with 22 wins, 1 tie, 1 loss, sweeping every title along the way. This was Dave Cameron's 21st season, and for those of you that didn't know, it was extra special in that his son was on the roster of our men's team, joining him at the national championship. Pretty incredible. For those of you that know Dave, his dedication to this sport, this college, to our soccer field, and most importantly to these players is truly extraordinary. Some might call it an obsession, but I would suggest that Dave embodies a relentless passion for excellence, not just in winning, but in giving, in building a future for these young men recruited to our program, particularly who are first generation, otherwise at risk, facing challenges that impact their ability to succeed. I'm not alone in recognizing this talent and contribution and commitment. Following the tournament, the men's soccer coaching staff were also named Regional Staff of the Year by the United Soccer Coaches. And in a letter of recognition, the national chair stated that this award celebrates the collective efforts of the Phoenix College men's soccer staff in building a culture of excellence both on and off the field. Through a strong emphasis on teaching, mentorship, and accountability, the staff guided these student athletes to success in competition while supporting their academic achievement and personal growth. And I could not agree more. Thank you. I think there he is. I'm like, I think he's here somewhere this morning. So examples of this excellence are found not just in men's soccer, but throughout our full athletics family. We've had great success both on and off the field in other sports, and also with our alums, exemplified recently with two of our softball players, Lucy Goodman and Chelsea Mesa, being named into NJCAA Hall of Fame, and one of our former soccer players, Martin Laula, recent selection in the 2026 MLS Super Draft by San Diego FC. Help me congratulate Coach Cameron, AD Kincaid, and all of our athletics family for their incredible accomplishments. All right, last, I would like to just make a quick introduction. We are very pleased to introduce to you all and share that Sam Lavis has joined our leadership team. Sam, if you would stand. Sam is our new Associate Vice President for Institutional Advancement as of January 5th, last week. We are super excited to have him on board. He brings more than 15 years in marketing, fundraising, and community development across Arizona, recently serving as the Vice President of Corporate Relations and Social Responsibility at Valley of the Sun United Way. So very excited to extend a warm welcome to Sam. Congratulations, everyone, on making it to 2026. I wish you the best in the upcoming semester. We look forward to connecting with you throughout the spring. And with that, I will turn it over to Angela Buckley, Executive Vice President of Admin Services.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. I will keep this somewhat short, which is a good thing when your chief financial officer doesn't have much to say, so that's promising. So we're going to start with the current spending trend, and we're going to look at it as compared to last year. So last year around this time, we were overspending by roughly $1.4 million. And so we have considerably cut that back. Or let me take that back. Last year, we were underspending our expenses by $1.4 million. And this year, we are at about $1 million. So we have definitely cut that back on our spending, and we are in a much better shape than we've ever been before. So it's all going in the direction that we hoped it would, with all the efforts from faculty, all the efforts from staff, and we are trending where we need to trend. And because of that, we were able to introduce the hiring thaw this year. Some of you may have heard about that. Some of you may have attended the budget presentation that Anthony did. So we lovingly call it the hiring thaw because we weren't prepared to say, okay, folks, you can hire all your positions. But we are prepared to start getting back to our new normal. So if you look at this small chart, you'll see the frozen positions that we have on the left. Before we did the thaw, that's how many positions were frozen in each of the divisions. If you look to the second to the last column on the right, you'll see the positions that we are now only requiring to be frozen by division, by department. So for example, academic affairs needs to keep roughly 6 positions frozen. Everything else, Adriana and her team can follow their regular processes, fill their positions, do whatever they need to do over there. Same thing for admin services, same things for student affairs. So for example, right now I currently have 10 frozen positions. All I have to have according to this thawing plan is 2. Have I filled those other 8 positions? No, not yet. Not for any other reason other than we're trying to strategically sit down, talk about it, decide what positions we need, if any positions need to be changed, because the campus evolves, things are evolving, and we want to make sure we're filling positions with the right positions. So that is a recommendation to the whole college that we really think about these positions that we're filling. So this gives us a projected savings with the 10.75 frozen positions of roughly $1 million. Now, is that a magic number? No, but it's a number that, based on the data that we have, that Anthony and I felt very comfortable with saying, okay, let's save about $1 million. We'll hit that 1.4 million in savings. Let me rephrase that. We're not saving money, folks. There's no savings. We're just not spending to the overspending extent. A few years back, if you remember, we overspent by roughly 1.7 million. So when we're saying we slowed down to 1.4, that just means we were overspending less, but we were still not within our budget. But we are now. So we're hoping with these projections, with this thaw, we do it nice and slow. We wait to the end of this fiscal year. Another budget presentation will be done at the end of the fiscal year to kind of wrap up the year and how we've done. And we'll see if this needs to remain the same, if we need to tighten it, or if we can release another position. So we're kind of going with the flow. We have to see how the numbers play out, and then we'll make more decisions come the end of the year. If you guys have any questions on this, feel free to email, ask your VP, ask your deans. Most folks understand the purpose of this and why we're doing it at this slow rate. All right, in December, you received an email, a facility survey, and want you folks to please understand, we do mean that with all sincerity. We want to know what you think this campus is missing. We are 15 years past due for doing a facilities master plan. We're going to be putting together a facilities master planning committee that will take place of the facilities usage committee. We'll be seating that soon. But we need to know what the campus needs. And it can be anything you saw at your spouse's place of employment, from when you went to school as a kid and you thought it was the greatest thing in the world, to a tour you did at another university. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be pie in the sky. These are just all ideas for the planning of this campus. We are well past due for refreshing, remodeling, doing pretty much most of our buildings, all the way down to some of our newest buildings like Dalby. They're actually due for updates. So you can imagine if some of our newest facilities back from the 2004 bond are ready for rejuvenation. Imagine what the older places are. You're also going to notice on campus that we're trying to revitalize the campus. I know we all say the campus is beautiful, and it is, but you know, there's only so much beauty you can see in old, and sometimes old isn't historic. Old is just old, and it needs to be refreshed and renewed. So keep your eyes out for that. We're trying to do a lot of work to get this campus back to its prime. So ideas on that, we're happy to take. So this survey will be resent out this month. So please fill it out as many times as you want, as many ideas as you want. And it will be put into a spreadsheet for this new committee to look at. We have a message from the campus police. I know things seem a lot different on campus. It feels like we have less police on campus. Things have changed. District's still trying to work it out. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Maricopa police officers are short in demand, and there's not as many as there used to be, but they're working on it. There's plans in place. But Roger and our folks in our campus police wanted me to please let you know that they are committed and they are proactive with the safety and security of the campus. So please do not think that out of sight means out of mind. We're doing our best to be seen and circulate the campus more. And then most importantly, see something, say something. Program the numbers into your phone, please, because it's not easy to remember when you're seeing something and you want to report it. So nothing's really changed on that. So now it is my pleasure, and probably for the last time, to introduce the president of Phoenix College, Dr. Kimberly Britt.
Good morning. How about one more for the road? If you don't mind, I'd like to get a picture for my desk at District. On the days when it's crazy and hard, I'd like to see these faces on my desk. So if you will, you can make a funny face, be yourselves. Everybody squish. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to squish it. All right. Before I get started on my official remarks, I very seldom write them out word for word. I usually do bullets, but today I wrote them out. I wanted to offer a word of gratitude to my amazing team and faculty leadership that are enabling me to earn the title Double Duty Britt yet again this semester in Maricopa. Without their leadership and without them leading the day-to-day operations of this college and solving complex issues, I would no way, shape, or form be able to juggle the role of she who must keep Stephen where he needs to be on time and solve all the things and go to all the things that he sends me to and address district issues, and then also manage everything that we have to manage here. So a round of applause for this incredible team that you heard from today. We're about 3 weeks into this double duty journey, and so far I'm still standing. The faculty just got back yesterday, so once they get a few swings at me, that I may look a little worn by the time we get to our employee celebration. I wanted to bring a couple of updates on things that we're going to try to accomplish this semester that I think are important, that I think you need to know about, not just for Phoenix College, but for the system. Some things that I normally wouldn't bring, but I think are important to everybody in the room. First of all, as you know, we did some hiring last semester, a new vice president for academic affairs, a new AVP for development, but we still have 2 interim positions to fill, and we intend to recruit and hire new employees for those 2 positions. The first one, if you're on faculty, you know that I came to the Senate and asked for a temporary reorg here at the college to get us through our HLC accreditation. And that is the seat that Ty is sitting in, which is the interim senior associate vice president for academic affairs and institutional research, and whatever else we happen to dump on Ty that's not reflected in his title, which he has been done a yeoman's job of helping us with our curriculum work, our assessment work, preparing us for visits, and then also really running the IR shop and helping to make sure that we're meeting the needs in dashboard development, our ATD work, excellency work, and whatever other reporting we have to do. I asked for a 1-year interim stand-up for that position because we were at a critical juncture. And my year will be up at the end of this semester, so we need to get a search going. So we will kick off and recruit for an associate vice president for institutional research and effectiveness. We expect to launch that search sometime in early February. We are going to do a national recruitment for that position. And so it will return to the original structure reporting to the Office of the President as it always has. The second big search that we're going to do is for the Dean of Academic Affairs. Since Adriana was successful in locking down the Vice President role, we have an interim position that we need to fill, and we intend to recruit and fill for that position as well. That recruitment will also kick off in early February. We may need to stagger them just to keep people alive. And then the big search is the presidential search. There will be a presidential search. I can report to you because I've been working with the chancellor and his team to kind of get it framed up. We're doing some kind of the backdoor processing, if you will, to get the presidential search recruitment ad out to start getting candidates. The chancellor will meet with the college executive team on, I believe it's January 26th. That morning, I will not attend that meeting, and that way stakeholders who sit around that table can help inform. And he's bringing a host of people with him from human resources, folks who take the notes and work as liaisons to the recruitment agency. So he'll have an entourage so that he can listen to what you want in your next president. I will be there in case the summary statement is not what we just got rid of. So he'll be there to begin to officially kick that off. I am pleased to report that the chair for PC's Presidential Search Committee is Dr. C.J. Wooster. The chancellor has approved that. Normally, he has a seated president lead presidential searches, and he asked for my opinion, and I shared with him I felt like the only seated president who really understood Phoenix College and could really assist was Dr. Wooster, and he approved that recommendation. The vice chair will be our faculty senate president, Dr. Pam Duty. And that is the model that the district is using now, a chair and a vice chair. So Dr. Duty will be leading our internal charge. Work that is ongoing at the district around the presidential search at this moment is creating the seats that will exist on the search committee, how many faculty, how many executives, how many staff, community members, and that sort of thing. So that is actually being done right now. We're in some meetings, and they're building out that framework. And I'm sure the chancellor and his team will talk about that on the morning of the 26th with our CET group. And then the stakeholders will do what they do and take that out and share that information with all of you whom they represent, and you'll hear about it in chair council and faculty meetings and that sort of thing. So it's going to be a big semester of hiring. Barring no resignations or transfers or anything, your administrative bench will be solid and put in place. I will be with you through commencement, and at that point, hopefully we have selected and are very near to onboarding a new president. And I'm going to bow out around commencement for a particular reason. That is to allow you to begin to look forward and onboarding your new president. So we will have probably a short temporary interim. It will likely be Angela, who will hold the ship steady in between me leaving at commencement and the new president beginning. So just wanted you to know about that process and that update. I know it's on your minds. I'm convinced with the national reputation, the work, and the accolades that this college has received, you will have a profound, robust pool of great leadership candidates from which to choose, and your next leader will take us to places as an institution. I'm using the word us because I'll always be a part of this college, and I'll be cheering you on every step of the way. One other important update, transitioning from hires and people that we're getting on board, is a legislative punt ask, if you will, that Maricopa is going to do. We have one legislative ask this year, and if you sit on ABC or any district committees, you may have heard this. I will ask Kim Duru to send out a talking sheet to the college so you have the talking points. I'll just hit it high level. We're going to go and ask for reinstatement of state funding to Maricopa colleges. I have the numbers on my phone. I'll lose my flow if I go down there, but basically it's about $7.1 million over a 4-year period that gets us up to $28.4 million, if I'm getting the numbers right off the top of my head. That's what we're going to do. PEMA, as you know, also doesn't receive funding. They've elected not to join us on this great journey, but we're going to do it ourselves. I want you to have those talking points that Lauren Armour and her team have put together. It's self-explanatory. There's no need for me to read it to you, but your access to that will be very important. So as you're meeting with folks of influence, you have those talking points, you're familiar what they are, and are ready to advocate for what that funding means to Maricopa College students and our ongoing ability to support them at a high standard. And that is what is on that sheet. So I'll make sure Kim has that, or Kim, you can reach out to Lauren and ask her for that. That might be the fastest way to get it. And then we'll distribute that from my office to you so everybody here has access. So take some time to read that. It's going to be a big ask. The budget projections, I was at a legislative event on Friday, and the budget is challenging for the state. So us going in there and doing this, it's pretty audacious, but I think we can do it. With that, those are the big updates. Oh, there is this other little thing. I'm working on this project in my new role as an academic plan. I don't know if you've heard about it. I got it. I am actually working on that. I've developed the framework for the academic plan. I've detailed and worked with a few folks about what will be in the 4 main sections of the academic plan. And I will be meeting with the big academic steering committee around the district. And the reason I wanted to share this is because Angela was talking about that facilities plan. We need a district-wide academic plan so that we can figure out over the next 10 years where are new programs going to go, what programs are phasing out for whatever reason. Maybe they were designed to, maybe they're dying a slow, painful death for whatever reason, maybe they're AI threatened. And that doesn't mean we necessarily close things, but we may have to look at consolidation, regionalization, updating programs. There are several options open to us to ensure that our programs are vibrant and vital, and that we're not breaking the bank. But to bring in new, sometimes you have to look at the old, but you have to look at them together. So the academic master plan will be unveiled to the entire leadership in the district, the vice presidents, all of them, the presidents, faculty, senate presidents, as well as district office leadership on February 10th. And what I'll be doing is putting work groups together for each of the main sections to help craft each section of the academic plan. So don't worry, the administration is not writing it, but I have built a framework to really guide our teams. The goal is that we have a solid draft of our academic master plan for the system by the end of accountability for this semester. And we're ready to operate and move with that document kicking off in fall, which is very important to our facilities folks, because we've got to get going. As you heard Angela say, we need to be able to forecast where we need to renovate spaces or entire buildings or add structures if necessary. So that's coming. I wanted you to know about it. I'll be sharing this with other stakeholder groups. I'm meeting with that team. I'm going to meet with some shared governance councils in between now and the 10th to, make sure I haven't missed anything, let folks poke holes in the sections and tell me what to add. But so far, I've gotten good feedback on it, and I think we're headed in the right direction. So the thing that you've been waiting for is on its way. And so those are kind of the updates that I wanted to give to you today, but I do have some remarks that I crafted. I don't know how many of you know that my first 16 years as a faculty member, I lived on an 80-acre farm. Yeah. So I had a zero-turn lawnmower that I drove, and I cut our 8 acres of grass. This was when I was married, before I was wild and single like I am now. But I drove that zero-turn lawnmower. I had the weed eater, and I was out there with axes, chopping down sometimes small trees. And I've even run a chainsaw. You might not guess that about me, but it is actually true. Well, the biggest pain in my ass was my elderly mother-in-law who lived with us at the time. And she would say things like this: "You can't cut down that tree. My Uncle Forrest planted that back in 1920, and my mama planted that bush over there. Don't you touch that." And I had my ass chewed out regularly by my mother-in-law over what was planted, and it was hard to mow. And some of the trees, we got pretty severe hurricanes because I lived on the coast of South Carolina at the time. And the trees are leaning toward the house. And so sometimes you move into a new home, newly married, and I'm looking at everything and I have a vision for what I want, and you need to prune the garden, and that's hard to do. But thinking about visions and landscapes, when I arrived here in 2020, there was a member of the faculty who held me to a promise, and that I would stay in the VPAA seat for 2 years, and that was Carl Schindler. Where's Carl? Carl, do you remember asking me that? Well, I failed. I was only in that seat for a year, so sorry about that failed promise, Carl. When we think, what? He's never forgotten. He never lets me live it down. But as I'm rounding out in May what will be my 5th year with Phoenix College, I wanted to take a little bit of time to think about our student success framework and how that connects to our journey together over the last 5 years. The first 2 years, when you look at our student success framework, the first part is about the rise. And that is about laying the foundation, building the culture, establishing the trust and everything on which we have invested in, the seeds that we've planted, the tracks that we've laid, and what we're seeing now as a result of those first 2 years. That first one was with Klein Namuo in the seat, and then now I took over. He just passed that baton, and it was smooth because we were internal, and I often describe us a little bit like Batman and Robin. But think about where we were when I first arrived on campus. Literally, I would see people for the first time, and my thought would be, gosh, I didn't know you were that tall, or I thought you were taller than you are. And many people thought the same of me because, well, most of us were working from home at that time, and there were maybe 3 or 4 of us in the office on rotating days. That's where we were when I began at Phoenix College. We were building, if you'll recall, the first version of FAST that year in 2021. There was a team of faculty and leadership from around the college, which some of them aren't even with us anymore. Angela's here now, though, but that were leading the FAST work. Paul DeRose was my mentor, onboarding me to Phoenix College. Times have changed in 5 years. We're all back here at the college, most of us, most days. And we've flipped the script. Instead of 1 day in the office, most of us here are here 4 days in the office. Times have changed. And there I was, my first year, sitting on a presidential search committee, hoping that Klein Namuo, I was cheering him on. I came to work for him, and lo and behold, he left us. I've never forgiven him. I still don't send him a Christmas card. But anyway, we got all the way to the end, and I don't know how many of you recall or weren't here or have joined us since. We failed that search, and I had 2 weeks' notice from going from VPAA to president. I wasn't expecting it. In fact, in my interview, I said, well, I'd like to be a vice president for 3 more years. I'd already been one for 8. I was hoping for about 3 more before I stepped into a presidency. Most of that had little to do with my professional capabilities, but just I had lost a child, and I felt like I needed time to make sure that my youngest daughter made it through college and I got her off to law school, but also that I was taking care of myself and healing. Well, that didn't work out either. I failed at that. So there you go. She did make it to law school. The kid turned out fine, but I wound up in a presidency much sooner than I expected. And you'll recall we kicked off that presidency with a chicken rehoming project for this college that landed us in the New York Times. When I did that project and I stood up here and I introduced the rubber chickens and that you could get one for a random act of kindness, I figured you'd walk out of that door, and maybe you did, it's okay, I don't take it personally, would make fun of me. But it wound up being something that brought the first win for PC, and that was some national recognition for how we were approaching culture and a return to work. I did 2 national presentations on that, not because I applied, but because I was called. I remember Kim Duru coming to my office and said, hey, somebody from the New York Times called and they want to interview you about chickens. And I was like, the chickens? Are you serious? But we did. But when I think back about that project, I received a card from Brenda Maynard, after I was announced as the executive vice chancellor. And in there, Brenda wrote, "The thing that I crave the most is the Supreme Chicken Award that I earned while I was at PC." And, you know, sometimes when you're kicking something off, something that you think is just going to land flat and earn some jokes about you winds up meaning the most to people. And I think the reason it did is it brought us all together. And it was those foundations, those early wins we came off of monitoring that year with HLC. We began to bond and gel as a team. Then we moved into years 2 and 3, and as we were planting intentional seeds around student success and advocacy, we hired a new vice president for academic affairs. We had Adriana moving in the dean's seat. We were seating and recruiting faculty, and where necessary, we were not renewing some, shall we say, at the end of their probation period. But we were really building something special at PC, and as a result of that, we went and received probably the highest honor that we've received in a long time. We earned the seal of Excellencia. That is because of all of you. That's because of that foundation that we laid. We're now in the second phase of our student success framework, the planting of the seeds. Well, I remember coming to Convocation after we received the award and saying, well, you know, it's not about winning, but we're winning. Thank you, Ty Wellborn, a quote from Ty. But we don't want to rest on our laurels. So by the end of that academic year, we were named an Achieving the Dream College, planting the seeds. And so as I think about where we are now, we've navigated incredible, huge budget challenges together as a college. And we had some hard discussions. We've stood up and matured a program learning outcome assessment framework that didn't even exist. We had the ILOs, but we didn't have the programmatic part. And because of that, I predict we'll have a solid HLC visit. That's all of us. I create a vision, but you're the team that makes that stuff happen. All of that planting the seed, the investment in our students, the investment in ourselves, the investment in one another, but primarily and foremost, the investment in community as a college who comes together and works together. We began kind of showing off with that in years 3 and 4, so much so that other colleges would say, well, everybody can't be at PC. So there was a little, I don't want to use the word jealousy, but folks were trying to figure out what our magic was that we were building. I pondered about what that magic was, and I just think it came down to simple respect. Respect for one another, respect for our processes, and that through that continual respect came trust. And that allowed us to get to the last phase where we are now. And that's our lift phase. Together, I think we've planted seeds for growth. We have exhibited tough love when we needed to. We've raised the bar when we needed to. We're challenging our students and getting them through the tough academic hurdles. How we invest in that, how we invested in the middle, the strategies and the initiatives that we laid down has determined the success and the view that we get to see today. The lift, the phase where we are now, is the celebration. It's the moment we look back with all of our students and our colleagues, and we celebrate the hard work. For me, it's the ending of a journey. But this isn't all about our 5 years together. Today is about kicking off a semester. Having been a faculty member for 16 years, I can tell you that this framework, this growth, this journey applies to the classroom. And you think about it. The first part of the class or the advising experience is laying the foundation, sharing with students what your vision is, helping them get some early wins so that they don't give up, and building a community where students can thrive and learn. And then the tracks, you're planting seeds for growth. You're constantly raising the bar. Just when they think, all right, I've figured it out, you go and you raise the bar one more time. Because that's what growth is. It's never setting in on your accolades, and we don't let our students do that. And then the last part, which is sometimes the hard part of teaching, and that's celebrating the legacy, the lasting impact of what you do as a faculty member in a classroom is the legacy piece. You lay this foundation, you challenge them, you push them, you don't let them give up on what their goals are or themselves, and you help them battle those voices in their heads. And you might get to see them when they get their grade and they're like, yes, you might get to see them at graduation. But you ever run into a student 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, and you find out, wow, they're there. Holy crap. Will you include me in your will? Some that really make it big. That is what the lift is about. It comes in the short term and it comes in the long term. But what you do when you lay that foundation and those tracks that you lay determines the celebrations that you will have later. And so my parting words are these. I knew I was going to struggle in this part. Damn it. We rose together so that we could eventually lift others, our students, ourselves, our community, and even other colleges around the district. I'm a big fan of the musical Hamilton, and I chose a couple of quotes, my final convocation with all of you to leave you with. Like Washington taught Hamilton, and like Hamilton realized in the final moments of his leadership, legacy is about planting seeds in a garden you may never get to see or be a part of or continue to cultivate in the way that you have. Today, as I look at Phoenix College, I realize I'm finally standing in the garden that I saw when I got here almost 5 years ago. There is an old proverb that says a society grows great when its elders plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. That's been the greatest lesson I've learned from many faculty here. The work that was done well before I arrived laid the foundation for the day that I would even walk on this campus to be where we are. It's not just about this period, it's about the entire history and legacy of Phoenix College. For the last years, we have been digging in the dirt together. We have planted seeds of innovation, investment, and hope. And in the words of George Washington, as he prepared to leave the stage in the play Hamilton, he said, "I anticipate with pleasing expectation that retreat in which I promise myself to realize the sweet enjoyment of partaking in the midst of my fellow citizens, my fellow bears, the benign influence of good laws and good work." That is the sweet joy I will have. Soon I will take my place among a district person who gets to admire Phoenix College in a different way. But I hope that I have left behind my tracks. And as I carry with me the happy reward of our mutual labors, I will always remember we rose together, we planted together, and now it is my greatest honor to watch you fly. Now I'll take you back where I began, and that was when I was mowing that lawn. It was a pain. Don't touch that. Britt started that. Don't touch that. We did this. Don't do that. We can't wait for people to die or retire before we make changes. With new leadership comes a new phase. Don't be afraid to prune the garden. That doesn't mean you clear everything and till the soil and start over. But you have to be wise in saying, this worked for this moment. Now we have to have this change. That's a part of growth. That's the part of the journey. I'll be cheering you on. I'll be leading strategic things that hopefully will help this college and all other 9. But I want to say thank you. Thank you for the most 5 amazing professional years that I know that I have had or will have in this business of higher education. You have changed my life, and I hope in some small way I've changed yours too. Have a great, great semester. Thank you.
If there's one thing we can say about Dr. Kimberly Britt, I know it's that history has its eyes on you. Remember, don't take anything personally. Be impeccable with your word. Never make assumptions. And always do your best. Have a great semester. Thank you, PC.